Hello and welcome. It has been really a hectic job, a hectic journey to go up to this far. But then we are remaining with one topic that we are now concluding this time. So this is the last topic that I welcome you to, and this time around we are looking at the regional and continental groupings in Africa. Regional and the continental groupings in Africa. So in this topic, it is really a wonderful topic where we are going to look at the groupings, like the coming together of states and forming organizations. So we are going to look at those organizations that have been formulated in Africa. So this one, it is really a wonderful topic. So I hope you are really going to enjoy the topic, and let us be together, because we are going to look at a number of issues in this topic. Being the last topic, it is not very long, and we are going really to enjoy. I hope so. So let us be together. Now, let us look at the establishment of the Organization of African Unity, OAU. The establishment of the Organization of African Unity, OAU. So the origins. This OAU, by the way, it was an organization that came together, that brought together some African countries. So we are looking at the origins. So the origin of this Organization of African Unity lie in the idea of Pan-Africanism, the idea of a free and united African. So Pan-Africanism, we mentioned it in the previous topics, to say there were that Congress, the Pan-African Congress, Dr. Banda attended and the like. We are also going to mention the same names here, Kwame Nkrumah and the like. So we are going to mention them here. So the coming together of African states, it all started with the idea of Pan-Africanism, which is the idea of free and united Africa. So the word Pan-Africanism can be defined as an idea and movement that encouraged the solidarity of Africans worldwide in order to achieve social, economic, as well as political progress. So in that way, we define the Pan-Africanism. The idea of Pan-Africanism was first written about in the beginning of 20th century by Black people or African people living outside Africa. So it originated in West Indies and the USA among the Negroes, to mobilize all people worldwide who were Africans by nature. So the movement was at first a protest movement of Black people against their exploitation, racism, and indigeneity. So we see to it that it all started in the USA and the West Indies, whereby they were fighting for racism. They were protesting against racism or their exploitation. So it started by Africans who were protesting against their bad working conditions. Now let us look at the figures. Let us look at the people behind the idea of Pan-Africanism. Mind you, we are following the formation of the OAU, Organization of African Unity. So we have traced it, we have linked it to Pan-Africanism. So let's see who are these people behind Pan-Africanism. The people behind this movement included the following: William Edgar B. Du Bois, Marcus Garvey. Marcus Garvey was a Jamaican, Du Bois a Ghanaian, and Henry Sylvester Williams, a West Indian lawyer. The writings of Marcus Garvey The writings of Marcus Garvey had the most influence in Africa. He spoke of Africa for Africans, and he urged all black people living outside Africa to go back to their motherland. So William Du Bois, uh, is famous for his summary of the reasons for the movement. That is, the problem of 20th century is the color line. To say, he wrote that famous summary to say, no. The reason for why we are staging Pan-Africanism is that there is a problem to say in this 20th century, there is a color line. The other side, the whites, the other side, the blacks. So we want to break that one. So Henry Sylvester Williams sponsored the first Pan-African Congress, which was held in London in 1900. And at the meeting, the mistreatment of Africans in South Africa and Southern Rhodesia were discussed. So 4 other congresses were held in various capitals to create the awareness of this Pan-Africanism. What were the aims? What were the aims of this Pan-Africanism? Number 1, to promote unity and solidarity, among Africans to resist ill treatment from the Europeans and the other groups. And also, they wanted to liberate Africa from the colonial rule by urging Africans to strive for political and economic independence. They also wanted to integrate African countries into a large body that could have a stronger voice in world affairs. So the attempts to develop the idea of Pan-Africanism led to the formation of Organization of African Unity. So we see to it, that's where we arrive now to say, all right, with that Pan-African congresses that happened at different times from 1900, the major aim were to form or to bring Africa together. So with all what happened there, then it led to the formation of the Organization of African Unity, OAU. So let's look at the steps. What were the steps that were followed in order to form the Organization of African Unity? So the first step was the 1945 Manchester Pan-African Conference. So Pan-Africanism attracted African leaders in 1945 when the 5th Pan-African meeting took place in Manchester in Britain. So it was chaired by Du Bois and Kwame Nkrumah of Ghana and its secretary. So some notable African leaders who attended also this conference included Mzee Jomo Kenyatta of Kenya, Obafemi Awolowo from Nigeria, Sekou Toure from Guinea, and Dr. Hastings Kamsabanda from Nyasaland. So they were African leaders who met in Manchester to discuss the African issues. So some members of African political movements attended the conference, including the African National Congress from South Africa, the National Council of Nigeria and Cameroon, the Nigerian Youth Movements from Nigeria, and the Nyasaland African Congress from Nyasaland. So also political leaders from different areas, they also met there in representing their political movements from various African countries. But what were the aims? What were the aims of the 1945 Manchester Pan-African Congress? Number 1 was to promote nationalism in Africa, and number 2 was to support nationalist movements in African countries, striving to get rid of the colonialism and develop them. So they were there to promote people to say they have to fight for their independence and to support those movements that were on the ground to fight against colonialism. But what were the terms? What did they agree at the 1945 Manchester Pan-African Congress? Number one, they agreed to put into practice at once the principles of the 1941 Atlantic Charter, especially the self-determination policy. So they wanted to put into practice the self-determination policy. This self-determination policy, it will be understood clearly when now we come into Form 4. There then, Woodrow Wilson advocated, was the first person to advocate. After the end of First World War, they said, no, there must be people of the same belonging, of the same grouping or tribe. They need to have a right to choose their own government, to establish their own government without being imposed to follow what others think might be better for them. So that one is self-determination policy. So we see to it in 1945 here, we are saying that the Manchester Pan-African Congress, they wanted to put into practice that which was agreed after the First World War, that is the self-determination policy. Even the Atlantic Charter also re-emphasized what was agreed after the First World War. And also to implement the land reforms in Africa. Europeans were forced to stop snatching land from Africans, distribution, landless Africans, and urging Europeans to vacate African lands, especially in Kenya. So they wanted to establish or to implement land reforms by forcing Europeans not to grab the land from Africans, and also to redistribute the land, and also distribute the land to the landless Africans, and to ask Europeans to leave Africa, especially in Kenya, and also to end all other discriminatory policies or laws in Africa. So they met in 1945 and they agreed to say, from now on, we are going to end all these discriminatory policies, land reforms are going to be done, and we're going to put into practice self-determination, which is to fight for independence. Africans should rule themselves. And also to let Africans exercise their freedoms, that is freedom of speech, press, association, and assembly. They have to be free, Africans, to say what they want, to associate with whoever, and also to make assemblies themselves. And also to revisit the tax policies in mandated territories, that is civil and criminal codes were to also to be reviewed. Also to introduce free meals, books, school equipments to pupils up to the age of 16, and to grant Africans of 21 years of age a right to vote and be voted into the public positions. Also, they agreed to foster the availability of medical, health, and welfare services to all. Not only that, they also agreed to abolish forced labor and introduce a policy of an equal pay for equal work, to say people must be paid equally no matter who is doing that job. Another step towards the formation of the OAU was the Conference of Independent African States, CIAS, Conference of Independent African States. So it took place in April 1958 in Accra, that is Ghana. So it was chaired by Dr. Kwame Nkrumah to promote the ideas of Pan-Africanism. So it was attended by African countries which by then had already attained independence. So the 8 member states of the CIAS included Ghana, Guinea, Liberia, Libya, Ethiopia, Tunisia, and Sudan. All African countries that were now independent, they formed that conference of themselves. So their aim was to promote further Pan-Africanism, to say Africans, those who have not attained independence, they have to be assisted by those who have already attained that independence. What were the terms of the CIAS conference? Number one, they agreed to promote unity and solidarity among African independent states by forming a union of African states to promote further unity, to say we are independent, we need to be vigilant and come together. We need we don't want to see any other country coming under colonization again. And also to foster nationalism. They also wanted to foster nationalism in African countries struggling for independence, for example, Algeria and South Africa. So they wanted also to assist those Africans that were also fighting for independence. They also agreed to let member states solve their differences through a dialogue. And they also agreed to let member states to form an African common market. Also, they agreed to let presidents from member states to meet once in every 2 years to discuss issues of their common interest, to say, or those presidents in their states, they have to meet once in 2 years so that they discuss the common things or the common problems if they can find common solutions at all.